Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. In this week's show, we are going to recap Jonathan Wilson versus Andrew Tackett on Combat Sports. We are going to recap the sub-only series submission on the shore, headlined by PJ Barch, John Combs, and a 16-man bracket. We're also going to recap Rise 9, Jason Rau and Devonte Bones Jhonson. Do a little bit on Fight to Win as well, and preview Toro Cup 21. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine. My co-host,
Josh.
How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing.
You're doing good?
Yeah, I am doing. I can't complain, I guess.
Can't complain
I'm a little
either.
beat up.
We're still, again, new podcast set, still trying to get it all organized and reorganized. Used it for some other stuff this last weekend, and so getting everything fixed for us.
Maine fucking doing
Man, I'm getting back from vacation.
stuff.
That was great.
Vacation.
Wife and I went to Niagara, did some training. Talk about that in the outro. Do we have any news this week? Did anything? I was out of the country on vacation, and I don't want to get a giant internet bill, so I didn't do a whole lot outside of the hotel room on vacation.
I don't think so.
We're starting to get some brackets, and we had a discussion today.
Brackets? You just mean
Not
like the full release of
We are
everybody
starting to
that's
figure
there?
out who is going to be in ADCC
Yeah.
2022, and holy shit. I cannot wait.
Some of those pictures.
Dude, some of those pictures.
Just seeing all of those guys, and you're like, wow, that's going to be... gonna be a good...
With Key's office, so it's not really news, but we had a discussion today internally in Grappling Rewind in our big chat that we have. I basically posted a picture of the 88 kilogram division. I think the caption was "fuck picking this one," and we went through. We're starting now to figure out how potentially they're going to be bracketed. If you know ADCC, they typically do not like to have rematches unless they are in the finals, unless they were like a long time ago and there's no other options. They put teammates into the first round at maximum the second round.
Normally the second.
They normally do them the second. They used to do them in the first round, but if there's three people, like Atos has at 88, somebody's going to go against each other in the first round and then in the second round. And so basically it turns into this wild... it's not even a guessing game. It turns into a wild game of basically pick and choose based on the rules of how it's bracketed, who is going to end up where. And you can essentially, for some of these, figure out what a portion of the bracket's going to look like. So over the next coming weeks, as we get closer and closer to September for the World Championships for ADCC, we're going to be playing that game internally. And I always have a lot of fun playing that game. So other than that, I don't think we have any other big news. Did we have any other big announcements or any other people that we didn't have prior that have now been announced for ADCC? Any dropouts?
I don't think so. Was Hinger always in it?
Yeah, Hinger, because he's a medalist. He was a medalist from last year.
Oh, yeah.
So, by the way, next couple weeks, you're going to get a lot of that from us. I was like, was this guy in it? Yep, he's been in there since, we had a discussion when Tim Spriggs dropped out. Like, when did he get an invite? Yep, back in February.
Or when we talked about Pedro going, I'm guessing, up to 99 from 88?
Maybe, from the previous year, yeah. So, again, ADCC is 98 grapplers. We occasionally make mistakes on like who was here and who was where when and what division. Yeah, Josh, we had Josh have some great corrections from last week's show. Again, if you have corrections, follow us on Instagram at Grappling Rewind. DM us if we say something wrong. We typically run a pretty tight ship, but occasionally we will make a fuck up or two or forget about a rematch or something like that. So I have no other.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, there's really no news this week. What do you want to start with, Josh, this week? You want to start with the spiciness that was...
Whatever. Pick
okay.
whatever. Like, there's so much stuff.
So we only have one match to recap for Combat Sports Sports Coverage 4, which is an event. We don't really cover them usually, but they really made some big improvements to their production from the last time we talked about them to this time. They had a really, really exciting match that was Jonathan Wilson versus Andrew Tackett that actually Wilson was able to win by kneebar. And Josh and I just rewatched it before the show.
We watched the finishing sequence probably like 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
And we were just discussing what he could have done to possibly get out. But we were also talking about how... And maybe this will come with age, not with like mad experience. The kid's got a ridiculous amount of experience.
Yeah.
But he needs to slow down.
Yeah, that's
like sometimes that quick transitioning
it seemed to be
catch him up.
The thing that caught him up here because he had a couple of things. We saw him. There's one particular moment that he has. Jonathan in a reverse triangle. So reverse triangle from the back, not reverse triangle. Triangle, from the back. And triangle from the back is something that we really only see escaped a couple of times a year. It is almost a dead ringer position unless someone is ridiculously tough. Women will see escape it more, but it is an uncommon position that we see people escape from because it is so hard when someone locks you down there. And we saw Andrew Tackett decide to kind of transition through a series of triangles.
Got, like, wiggled a little bit because he went to fold in half, which
is
my
what you
personal
do to finish
opinion, like that's one of the best ways to finish it.
Yeah. Because you basically fold the shin underneath their neck and you've pushed their face into it, and then they can't breathe and they're getting choked and they have to tap, plus it frees the shoulder up.
Yeah, but he like transitioned and kind of fell off and had the triangle locked on the opposite side.
He had a reverse triangle as a. Oh God, this is always so.
They call
confusing.
it a reverse triangle because I mean it
so there's like 6 triangles.
It's the leg going the wrong way across the shoulder instead of the top leg. Instead of the leg keeping the neck down, going horizontally. It's the one that's going to end up vertical. So instead of being that outside 90 degree, it becomes an inside 90 degree. There we go. I'm using my brain. And those are a little bit harder to finish. But then
really
he
hard
got into the triangle position, but he was so like off kilter at that point that he couldn't hold on to it.
And Jonathan did a really great job. Again, throughout the entirety of the match, up to the finish, like was really on the defensive and was able to play a more defensive game. And Andrew,
he capitalized
in this match,
a lot on
Andrew wanted to keep moving. And if Andrew was not getting, there was a moment where Andrew's on the back for a while. He threads in the arm for the rear naked choke. He doesn't have hooks in, and then he kind of like, doesn't really like where the hand position is, and just lets go and just starts to get the hooks in.
Stab the hook in,
works a positional game as opposed to kind of setting in that choke and being more grindy. And again, not sure if that will come with age, but it was just interesting tactically to see because Andrew Tackett throughout the entirety of the match was very much in the driver's seat with both submission offense and positional offense. And then in this final sequence, Jonathan being very, very defensively minded in sort of a scramble out from a back take.
Yeah, he pops out like the back door and trying to get somewhere. And at first I thought Tackett was going to try to dive over and go back for his back.
Which is a really common thing you see when someone basically ends up almost in a low X guard. Somebody will jump over the hips and end up on your back when you're trying to roll under them.
Yeah, but he just like stopped and Jonathan kind of kicked him forward a little bit. And at first I thought Tackett posted on purpose, like as a transitional point, but it seemed like he got knocked forward and he used it as like, I'm going to catch my balance and then wiggle out.
And then I'm going to stand back up and readjust the guard or readjust essentially what it could be a single leg X or any sort of other transitions to kind of keep top position there and not get swept over. He was trying to stop the sweep from getting swept over, and Jonathan did a beautiful job of
he
had the outside leg, and then as Tackett went to step over, grabbed the inside leg and rolled under. This is one of my favorite knee bar transitions.
It's broken off of the main video. It's like a 7 minute long, 7 minutes and 13 seconds. I'm looking at it. Watch that and watch that finishing sequence. It's right before the 6 minute mark of where he finishes it. And you can just see the little transition and the little grips that he uses to grab it.
Yeah, camera angle was great for it.
It was. There were definitely some times this weekend where the camera angle was not good.
As every weekend. But yeah, really nice. You're getting awesome victory for Jonathan Wilson. Kind of a come from behind victory in a big way, but extremely good knee bar. And again, sometimes, with an active player like Tackett, you have to counter and look for those single opportunities. I'm very curious to see if we continue to see Jonathan. I think we've covered him before. I think he's done trials. I think we've seen him on other stuff. I'm not sure if we've covered him in depth on the show before, but I'm very curious to see if he can leverage this into basically additional super fights.
Well, here's the other thing too, is like doing this like on a week by week basis. At least you have a rotating cast of supporting characters that fill in. But at a certain point, you start to feel like, oh, these people should never lose ever. Yeah. And you kind of get shocked when you're like, it was super shocking
this weekend. Or so it's like, how the show works in my head, I mean, this is kind of a peel back behind the curtain, is we have a rotating cast of probably 220 people in the grappling space that are professional grapplers or like people on the rise or on the decline that
220, you think?
Yeah, I did the math. I did the math, and I
did the
basically
math.
well, it's like, and there are people that they were familiar with, but we have about that many.
Are we talking no gi or gi as well?
We're talking people in general that we cover
Okay,
on the
that's more
show,
reasonable.
and I break that up by IBJJF divisions, by basically the top 10 or so people in the divisions. We have 18 divisions. Overall, I know about 10 people from each division. Some divisions are a little deeper. Some divisions are less deep. For ADCC time come, I know all of those guys and typically the last 3 or 4 people that they've beat. And so there's a general level and a general like host of people that are in the professional space that are at the top highest level. There's about 200, 220 that fill out the ranks there, folks that we cover on the show. So when we have new people come in, it's always exciting to see like where they fall out in that huge kind of cast of professional grapplers that I try to keep kind of locked in my head. And because we keep track of that many guys, or I try to in my head with okay note-taking, sometimes it falls apart. And again, sometimes you have guys that you're not as familiar with, like Jonathan Wilson, that punch up into the guys that I'm more familiar with, like Andrew Tackett, and can get submission victories, get wins, and then you go, oh, this is a guy that I now need to keep an eye on more so than I was before, as more of a peripheral guy, as a guy in that slot to know that when he is booked onto the next thing, oh yeah, he has that win over Andrew Tackett, look out for his transitions from the bottom so that we can keep an eye on him. So yeah, it is, I did the math, it's about 220. For Worlds, it expands a little bit, and then for ADCC, it shrinks down because we typically go way more into depth. And Miranda's working on some stuff now for like pulling names and pulling records, so we have ability to bracket and make picks come ADCC. So we're starting that now, but it pares down to about 100 and probably 60 come ADCC. Because we have to pull all the people, which is 98 people for ADCC, and then we pull usually the last 3 people that are not in ADCC that they have competed against. And it's a process.
That was a mouthful.
Makes me very tired, Josh. So very, very excited to see what Jonathan Wilson does. Great performance here in the counter there for the kneebar. Let's move on. Let's do Rise 9.
Let's talk about some of this Rise 9 action, man.
Rise 9, finally on Flow. Used to be a Fight Pass event. Now on Flow. Might have been on Fight Pass. Might have been on Flow for this. I think this is second. Maybe Rise 8 was also on Flow. But Rise 9 was historically an event out of New York that ran on Fight Pass. Now on Flow. So
I thought it was always on Flow.
It has bounced. It used to be on Fight Pass.
When you guys went to it, was it on Fight Pass or was it on Flow?
Did I go to Rise? I didn't go to Rise. I went to Kasai.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Kasai and Third Coast.
That's what I'm
Texas.
thinking.
Yeah, both New York-based events. That makes sense. Yeah, it was on Flow then.
I thought you guys went to the one in New York, you and Emil.
I went to the one in Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Went to Dallas for Kasai and went to Houston for Third Coast. And then I've traveled a bunch for Jiu-Jitsu now. And it gets confusing. Went to Vegas.
Yeah.
It gets confusing. So let's talk about this. Do you want to start with the finals or do you want to run through?
Let's run through it. We're not going to go like too deep into any kind of detail with the quarterfinals. We'll talk a little bit more when we hit the semis and then the finals.
Yeah.
So in the quarterfinals, you had Jason Rau defeating Luis Cabrera via heel hook, Matteo Martinez defeating Adam Colorado. Is that it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess so. Via shoulder lock, Bones Jhonson defeating Albruce Tuev via key lock.
From the fucking mount. Dude, he finished an Americana from the mount.
He's a big boy.
Dude, that's one thing that I noticed in Devonte's entire run was like, every time I see him,
This was absolute, by the way.
This is open weight.
Yeah.
But he just even at trials when we saw him, he overpowers guys in a way that I don't think people are ready for or used to. Like,
was it Worlds, Nogi Worlds or Nogi Pans, where he just like...
I know.
He was just like stomping guys.
Yes. And I think it was Pans. Might have been World, but it was one of those events
one of those two.
where like Devonte is an athletic freak and he leverages that against people in a way that you do not expect. Like, we do not see I don't remember the last time we have talked about, like a pro level card that had an Americana finish. Like Bones can do some special stuff.
You don't see it a lot, just because. I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of a hard move to finish.
Yeah, mechanically, because the guy can pull in the shoulder, but the way Devonte here controlled from mount, he climbs up really high. Like he's been playing that mount for a year now. We see him all the pro events. Like, that's how he wants to play. And then he just drives his hips up. He postures up really high, and he just with his fucking arms, just with the Americana with the arms.
I remember seeing him as like blue.
We have an interview with him on the Grappling Around YouTube page when he is a brown belt still at one of the Fight to Wins.
Yeah. I remember seeing him as like a blue belt and being like, this kid is terrifying. Mm-hmm. And we were right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go into some super fight action because that broke up between the quarterfinals and the semis.
Yeah, but we have Rene Souza also defeating Enrique Galarza via fastest escape in EBI overtime.
I hate overtime.
I'm not a big fan either, but it is what it is.
AJ Deshani went to a draw with Dan Pizzo. It was really a high-paced match. Pizzo hit quite a few double legs on Deshani. Deshani was doing what he's always done. We've covered him a bunch. Mm-hmm. We've commentated on his matches live.
Yep.
Was throwing like flying triangles as Pizzo was on the ground. Always good to see. And again, as Miranda brought up the other week, he just opened his MMA and BJJ gym, Droogs, I think it's called. Yeah, Droogs MMA and BJJ. Nice. So good for him to still be out there and also like running the school.
Yeah,
so,
opening a new school. And we know plenty of people have done that. That's a massively stressful process. Yes. So props to him.
Then we had Fatima Klein defeating Sofia Cassel via fastest escape time in overtime.
The regulation of this match was a lot of fun. It was.
Oh yeah.
It was super dynamic. A lot of attacks on both sides. Good. I like this match because you had a good interplay between really, really engaged leg locks and like long standing leg lock defense, and then you also had a lot of top position work from both people and some back. It was a jiu-jitsu match where you saw high pace everywhere, and it wasn't just we're gonna fight for the legs. It was
you see it a lot with the women. Like they don't. Yeah. They tend not to, especially no-gi. They tend not to just sit around and do nothing. Like they try to kill each other. Yeah. And it's fantastic to watch.
Yeah. This was a lot. I had a lot of fun watching this match. Tournament semifinals.
Jason Rau defeated Matteo Martinez via his fastest escape. This match was a barn burner. These two were just like going after each other. Like Rau a few times had like the banana split position, not an electric chair because that's more the like top.
Yeah.
He had like the banana split position trying to go for the back and everything. They both had their leg entanglements. Rau had an arm triangle briefly. Like
I was surprised. He was on top. High mount, got over on it, and then just wasn't able to finish. Matteo was just like
just could get out of like everything.
Just not gonna tap. Just calm, collected, and got out. Like that was surprising to me because Rau. I think Rau's
a really good finisher.
Really good top control. Yeah, and he's a really good finisher. He's a guy,
really good finisher.
He has an amazing knee bar game, but also when he tends to lock on guys, like when you see Rau drop off for a sub and then like lock it in,
he normally finishes
it.
Yeah.
So that's why I think why this sticks out of my head so much is you don't usually see Rau commit to something and then have someone escape off of it. It's an uncommon thing to see.
Well, here's the other thing is like, he didn't even really allow the body triangle to get that escape either in overtime. Like, Austin and I were talking about it the other day, and it's like just not allowing the triangle to happen and turning into it, or lifting up the leg to, break from this to this. Sorry, this happens every time.
I know, but it's this because you're really tired. It's way more. Josh is moving around.
Fidgety.
Josh gets fidgety, and then he moves away from the mic, and so I have to go fix a bunch of stuff in post. So the more fidgety and tired Josh is, the more he tends to move around. The more I have to go I gotta get a better mic for him.
He just shifted and didn't allow it, and then he locked up his own body triangle and held Matteo there for like 12 seconds because that's all he needed to do to win the
And
overtime.
Rau's got a crazy body triangle that he's got very, very long limb and leverages that very well for EBI style.
And
events.
then Bones defeated Rene Souza via armbar. This was quick. He just jumped on it, attacked the arm, attacked it Kimura style. Souza kept trying to pop out, was trying to come underneath. Bones eventually transitions around and just nabs up the armbar. It was maybe a minute long.
It was
like a minute
very,
and a
very
half.
quick. And again, this is another match where you just saw I don't want to say the gas tank, but just the foot to the gas, speed. I'm going to overwhelm you with
speed and size,
pressure and
size. You could see the size
Yes.
difference, definitely.
And you saw Bones you're seeing Bones impose that now in his game where he's I am lifting this much in the gym. I am getting this strong, and he's starting to leverage that into his technique now. And you watched him get bigger and bigger and stronger, and now it's a very different style of grappler now where he's not relying on it, but he is now using that as an imposing skill that he has on people, and he's getting them out quick. And it was just really interesting to see versus Rene here how he did that. He just with the quickness here.
Moving on to that, we went into super fight where we had Ray De Leon defeating Matteo Maldonado via fastest escape in overtime. Again, here at the Grappling Rewind, we hate overtime. It's silly.
Not our favorite. Again,
it wasn't a bad match.
No,
It was very
match
back and
itself was
forth,
awesome.
very
We like
high
seeing Ray.
paced.
Again, we've been covering Ray for since the brown belt
Forever.
for years, probably
For a
since
long
5
time.
years now. Yep.
It's just overtime. It just rewards being super defensive, and not that these guys were, but it rewards people that are super defensive that don't expend energy, because then you just hold on and you're like, oh, I win. Or you get the stuffing beat out of you for 15 minutes and then you hold on to the guy for longer.
That's why I like what the finishers has the rule, the Mollywop rule, where it's if you are overwhelmingly dominated in the regulation, we don't go to overtime. I think for the qualifiers for Emerald City, they do it as well now too. It's a new rule that they've kind of implemented. And I appreciate that's hey,
needs to.
if you don't put up in regulation, and I hope that more
if you
more
just get
events done.
waxed in that first 15 minutes, and then they're like, let's go to this, and it's yeah, you're more exhausted because you beat the hell out of somebody. It's like if Pedro Mourinho, when they hit that 25-minute mark, they were like, stop. Now take Gordon Ryan's back. Although Gordon didn't look tired at all. But it's oh, here, take his back. And now here's your chance to potentially win after just getting beat up for the past 25 minutes.
We've said our piece on EBI. Go back and watch when we used to cover more EBI events.
Speaking of overtime, Rene Souza took third place, defeating Matteo Martinez via fastest escape.
Again, I love
overtime.
I love it when they do third place matches.
That's great.
I wish that any bracketed event, do a third place match, please.
I get it. Sometimes it's you have two teammates where they'll be in the third place spot, and it's okay, maybe they won't do it, but
nah, man.
I think you should fight
Super
for third
fights,
too.
fight for third, man. Every other thing does it. I want to see a fight for third. I love a fight for third. Rene Souza takes third place here on Rise 9.
Title match really quick. Joe Mugnai defeated Thomas Doyle via triangle to retain his light heavyweight championship.
So when they said it on the broadcast, I thought he said featherweight, and I was like, I don't think that guy's a featherweight. And then I went back to the beginning, and I heard the announcer light heavyweight. I was like, that sounds more correct.
Yeah, I mean, it happens a lot.
No, he didn't say featherweight. I just couldn't hear when he put the belt around him.
But sometimes you end up doing that where you're like, oh, this featherweight match, and you're like, they were ultra heavies, and it's you get what I mean.
Yeah, it's close enough. Very fun. Again, locks up a pretty quick triangle. Very nice finish, and retains his title. Again, I love when organizations have a bracket for a title belt and then also have a returning champion on the card. I hate seeing organizations have a title and then, cool, a guy had a title, he's never defended for 6 years because you're only running brackets. I like doing things like Rise does, putting your champion back on a card for a super fight, and keep that champion active in your organization.
I like when organizations don't let matches go 99 minutes and then film it in a broom closet afterwards.
Hey, dude, in the outro, Josh, we can talk about that. You haven't said your piece about that yet.
Anyway, end of the night, the finals, Devonte Johnson defeating Jason Rau in the openweight tournament finals via arm triangle.
Couple minutes. Dude, Devonte.
Dude, he's getting ready for ADCC. This is what you do. You're doing a tournament before the possibly the biggest tournament of your life.
The biggest tournament of your life. The biggest tournament of your life.
Well, who knows? Maybe like.
But of his life so far. So far. ADCC is the biggest tournament anyone has ever been in grappling, ever. So it's the biggest tournament ever. Devonte's getting ready. Dude,
get ready for it.
Devonte hit a guard pass here that was wild. Like Jason Rau reguards, and then Devonte just jumps past, scoops the long side underhook, and just like flattens. Goes to the mount, climbs up the mount.
Crazy.
Climbs to the top, and just
forces it. He's just like, gimme.
Just forces it. He just goes, yeah, I'm going to be here. I'm just going to like push you over. I'm going to get us down.
This.
I'm going to take. It was.
He bullied him.
Wild. And again, you saw the difference. Devonte is definitely the bigger, stronger dude.
I mean, Rau isn't a small guy, but
Rau's 190 probably, right? Is he 190? Is that big?
I don't know. I can't say for sure.
Whenever I've seen him, he's always very, very tall, and then always like I have a hard time with tall
when you're
people.
Tall, and I'm like, how much do you weigh? And they're, I'm 240. I'm like, no, that's not possible.
So for some reason, I think Rau was 190. He could be a welterweight. I think he cuts to welterweight. Again, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but Devonte looked visibly bigger and stronger, and he leveraged that in a way that we
did it to everybody. He was like, I'm just going to beat you up.
But we're seeing him do that now, and it's a stylistic, like, we don't see many people do that. It is not a style that we see kind of be successful at the top level.
If you're in Gordon Ryan's division at ADCC, you better be getting fucking strong.
Yeah.
You better be trying to beat the fuck out of everybody because this dude is just going to.
Because you got to fight. You kind of got to beat him like with athletics. Like I'm just going to try to be a better athlete than you.
You got to.
Because I'm not going to be a better technician.
So you have to do a whole lot more.
Devonte
than that,
gets on
still.
top. Beautiful arm triangle setup. Levers it over. Falls off. He tries to finish her from mount for a while, and eventually Jason Rau's like, bro, I'm Jason Rau. I'm real fucking tough. I'm a Sarah black belt. Like, I'm not going to just tag me from mount. And you see Jason Rau, and I love the defense here, because he does answer the phone a little bit, because he's trying to make any space. Then he does the thing where you grab your own arm, and you try to like leverage your own arm. Yeah. And I was like, by the way, that is a gangster defense, because it buys you a little space, but it buys you a little less choke. But it doesn't make it any less tight, and it's super hard to do.
And it's honestly, you're just like, oh, my head hurts now more.
And it just squeezes, finishes, and it was just like
it was beautiful.
It was wild. So yeah, Devonte is again.
It's going to be cool
like
to see
monster.
him at ADCC against other people. Mm-hmm. I mean, it'll be cool to see what he does if he runs into Gordon Ryan. Like,
yeah, he's a genuine like.
As much as like you might roll your eyes or whatever about Gordon, or you might have your feelings, like,
dude,
the guy's the pinnacle of no-gi jiu-jitsu. Like, tell me somebody else. Okay,
nah, we're gonna see it next week. I mean, we're gonna preview Gordon versus Felipe next week.
It's in 11 days.
Is it? It's midweek again.
Oh, ew.
Is it midweek? It's the 7th. When is August 7th?
The 7th is. I think it's a
Friday. Is it a Friday? It's a
Sunday. Even better.
That's decent. I'm wrong then. So
I love when it's not on a Thursday.
I love when it's on a Thursday too. And it does go 99 minutes. Josh, that match is so bad. I'm still thinking about it. I thought about it today eating lunch. I was like, God, that was a bad match. Moving on to good matches. And awesome production, by the way,
dude.
So Submission on the Shore, I think it's been renamed now to Sub Only Series, and this was the 7th event, but I always know this as Submission on the Shore. I follow it on Instagram as a Submission on the Shore event.
That background throws me off so much.
So what it is go watch the event. Awesome event. PJ Barch looked fucking amazing. They did it like Jiu-Jitsu X does it. The studio has a big infinity wall, and it's a white infinity wall, and an infinity wall is basically it is a curve between the wall and the floor, and on a camera, you can't tell essentially where one starts and one ends.
You mean like the horizon, because the Earth is round?
Is that a thing?
You know, people would say that like flat earthers. They're
I
like,
have
oh
no
no.
idea. I don't. If you say that, I just like tune. I literally will walk away. I'm like, cool. I just walk away. Like, there's nothing I can say to you that will help. But so I think it's a really cool camera perspective here, and I really loved it. It also
It's super
props
bright.
to them as a camera guy myself now. Slowly, eventually, after doing the show for all these years, I loved the amount of exposure they had. It wasn't overexposed, wasn't underexposed, which is a really, really big problem. They did it in like a big, really nice studio in LA, and it shows because it's like they had a great matte side camera that was mobile. It looked like a streaming GoPro, which was in 4K, or it looked like it was in 4K. And then they had a matte side camera, and it gave us some really, really great shots, and it gave us some dynamic cameras, like really, really close, and you could see everything. It was awesome. I think I would love to see more events do stuff like theater style, where the back wall is an infinity style wall, because I think it makes it really, really easy to see everything when you're grappling.
Now, is that like part of that actual place, or did they?
Yeah, it's part of the place. So yeah, I looked up the studio because Miranda
I saw you
Miranda
guys talking
found the
about
studio, and then we looked at it, and it's Studio One for this particular venue in I think it's Burbank, maybe somewhere in California. Or maybe LA, somewhere in LA. And it's this studio. They put the mats essentially there in the corner of this infinity wall, and I think it was awesome.
It just looks like super intense. It's like it's really, really bright. And
Yeah.
it kind of throws you off because when you watch a lot of grappling stuff, it's normally very like dark and
Dark as fuck
gritty.
because lights are expensive and they don't want to.
Well, yeah, don't get me wrong.
It's also hard to light. Like Fight to Win does a great job, but they have an entire
they have overhead
They have an
rigs and,
entire
yeah.
lighting rig, and that's
Spend a lot of money on that.
That's
kind
how
of
you
stuff.
have to
Yeah.
do that. So most jiu-jitsu productions don't have the production for that.
That
and
shit
so
was
it's
bright.
awesome. So let's just talk about PJ Barch's run, unless you want to talk about other.
I mean, wow. Chris Wojcik, I think
That was a
that's how you say it.
rematch. That was a rematch from Trials.
He looked really good on the in between. He had a great straight footlock finish, like belly down footlock finish. That was amazing. He beat Combs, former ADCC competitor.
Barch did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barch did.
He face cranked him. He beat everybody. He submitted 4 people in a row. Like that is literally what's funny is on the TV screen that we're looking at. That is the highlight. PJ Barch submits 4 in a row.
Devonte Johnson submits 4 in a row. Just like
I think it was only 3.
a 3 in a row of a 8-man tournament. It's just the guys going to ADCC are really fucking good this year, and they are all
you don't say.
getting in comp shape. And these again, I really like covering these sort of events in the lead up to ADCC because you just see like guys get
Everybody
into
had an
peak
extra
shape.
year
I know
to get even better.
It's wild.
You didn't have to do like 2021. Like they were like, it's kind of questionable. Let's push it back. Which was great because people just got better.
Mm-hmm.
And like you get to see all sorts. And he just looked amazing on this card.
Yeah. Barch looked
Just
better
like-
than he has ever looked. He looked great at trials, looked amazing here. Again, the way that he finished John Combs with the rear naked choke, like underhook, the underhook control he had on Combs and the ability to control Combs' head, the ability to lock, like Barch looked calm in the finish. He didn't look frantic. He controlled Combs throughout the entirety of the transition, got him to his back, locked in. And I was kind of annoyed with how this was bracketed because I thought Combs and Barch should have been on opposite sides. Again, those are the two guys that had kind of
There were some dropouts, right?
I think
that's what happened with the brackets.
So. But again, I was really happy that we got to see that match. But that was the match. I was like, oh, that should be a finals match. They're on the same side. They're probably going to meet. They did meet. And then to have Barch, again, Combs being a former ADCC entrant, a former trials winner, to have Barch have that level of control on him, that level of comfort, that level of, like, even in the transitions, be able to get ahead of Combs, stay out of the guillotine, stay off the wrestling, impose his own wrestling in the open spaces there on Combs. And Combs is a 66er, not a 77er. Yeah, Combs cuts a bunch. Because he fought Krikorian at 66 in 2018 trials.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Because Krikorian fought
I
Combs
thought Combs was 77.
at 66. Then he fought Nicky Ryan at West Coast Trials for 2019 and got rear naked choke. He got rear naked choke by Combs. He got rear naked choke by Nicky Ryan. And then Krikorian got beat by Abate, and then Krikorian wins at West Coast.
Yeah.
That, by the way, is how I remember that series. Is just like guys that beat Krikorian and win. And then Krikorian fucking knocks it out there, and I loved it. Being Matt side for that was one of the coolest moments of the year for me to watch Krikorian win that. So, but that's how I remember.
Always been in like the finals.
I know, and that's
like.
But that's how I remember is like
place.
the guys that like were able to get Krikorian in the finals, and then him being there. So, non sequitur. John Combs, former trials winner. Barch looked amazing, but Barch is again a weight class above what Combs competes in typically. Combs might have been 77 at West Coast Trials, but I do not recall. But he has previously been a winner at 66 trials. So,
that was really it for that one. Like,
yeah, Barch
that was
great.
the highlight. There are a lot of cool like matches on the in between. Everybody, again, it's no-gi, so you're seeing a lot of leg locks, a lot of heel hooks, a lot of straight foot locks, things like that. You know,
I like this event. This event was
yeah,
great.
for
John
sure.
Evans was on commentary. I thought it was really clear. I liked that they had the full name on the broadcast. It was like the timer
Always good.
on there. The production was great. I'm very happy that they're now on Flow. We've covered them in the past, but I'm very happy that they're now on Flow because
It's easier to watch.
Well, I hope this will push the production level for other events up higher.
How do you get higher than that?
You don't, but I hope everyone shoots for that.
keep it at
Sees
that.
like, hey, that's what we got now, and that's what it is. So Barch, looking amazing, snapping dudes into the ground, just all facets of his game have improved.
Look at him when they're holding up his arms. Like, look at how massive his upper body is. Like he's a big dude in general, but look how big his upper body is.
You're seeing him put on all the mass from the injury he had. Like he blew out his leg at trials in 2019. And then he was off for almost a year. And then we saw him come back, and he had to recover. And then we've watched him, even in the lead up to West Coast trials, like get bigger, and like all his lifting he's done. I think Brandon Robb did a seminar with him, and like they talked about like the game and the stylistic like changes he's made to his game. He's not a dark horse for me, but he is a guy that is
You're gonna see some cool stuff from
in the
him.
mix at ADCC, and he's a guy I think he's gonna let it all out in ADCC, and he's gonna play a two swords kind of no shield game at ADCC.
Oh yeah, he's not going to play conservative.
And
I think it's going to be full blown attack. It'll be great.
So that was submission only. That was submission only series. Shove on the Shore 7. Now moving on to Fight to Win 206. Just one on the main event. We had a bunch of guys from Team No Sleep there. We had Brittany Elk, and I'm trying to pull up the.
Just go to results.
Well, we don't have results right now.
They should be up there.
Are they up there?
You keep clicking on schedule.
Yeah, because it's the previous schedule. Here we go. Josh, fill for time.
Hi, filling for time. Do they really not have the results up?
No, they don't have the results.
Anyway, like going into talking about the final, it's always good seeing Brittany compete. She's been competing a whole lot more, which has been super cool because you just get to see the expansion of her game and what she does. It was a lot of pressure passing, or pressuring in, trying to pass from top half. Sarah was playing a lot of half guard, going for the inversion. And, but that's where it kind of hung out for a lot of the match.
For the majority of the match, you saw.
And then you see Sarah like knock Brittany over into guard, but Brittany immediately starts attacking omoplata. Sarah got out, tried to attack the back. Brittany sat through, and it's like not a whole lot happened after that, and that was near the end of the match.
You had the one submission. You had all the top pressure from Elkin for the majority of the match,
You had
playing
the
through the guard,
omoplata
and then you have the submission attempt on omoplata. Even when Brittany got turned over there, she was able to very quickly reverse and get back on top. So. That was pretty much.
What was funny was like they announced her as the winner, and like you hear the crowd like boo, and it was like if you have to go by the rules. Like she was winning, she was coming forward.
Yeah,
she was trying to pass the entire time.
I was confused about the boos too. I wasn't really sure if Elkin wasn't like the hometown, if the other person was the hometown or
possibly. I'm assuming
because that was weird because Fight to Win crowd is typically pretty good for that, and so that's why I was very confused because in my eyes, I was like, yeah, Brittany was on top, playing from the top position, working the passing sequences, and then had the
really
submission
good pressure
attempt.
the entire time. Yeah, she got swept over, but the sweep led to nothing other than getting caught in a submission attempt. And then, like, that was really it.
That was the
She
match.
started to attack near the end, but that was it.
Yep, that was the match. So again, I thought Alkin had the title. So we talked about this in the chat.
Yeah, we were talking about it. We knew she won the title at a certain point, but
because we knew Alkin had the brown belt title and then became a black belt, and then at one point took the black belt title, and I don't know what weight class it was. I'm not sure if Alkin was fighting in a different weight class here because there was a bit of a size disparity between the two.
Huge in comparison
Yeah.
to Sarah. Like, looked significantly bigger.
Yeah. So I don't know if this was like a catch weight or I don't know what it was, but this was not for the belt that Elkin currently has, and I'm curious to see now with that main event slot if we're going to see Elkin back defending her title.
And again, it's always cool seeing women main event.
I love it.
A card. There was Reese Kilbrew versus Seth Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Seth went for his Kimura from the half guard, did not work out very well for him, and then Reese just pressured down.
Seth was unhappy. Seth basically, if you don't know the rule,
the
for
thing
fight
is,
to win,
Seth doesn't care.
Seth goes out there and does everything he can do, and then he goes, hey, I'm here. I'm Seth Daniels. If you are on Team No Sleep, if you are on Fight to Win, and someone needs a match, your ass is putting on no gi or a gi and going to fight. And I hate that rule now, but I'm that guy.
Most of them will do that.
Yeah.
The only one that I'm aware of at the moment in my running through that whole team that doesn't really do jiu-jitsu is Evan, who is the sound and lighting guy.
The light guy.
Yeah, so
everyone else does.
Everybody else does, and
props to him. But hey, props to Seth for getting out there, and
I mean, he did it last week too.
I know. Props to Seth for getting out there and like.
Didn't he do it? Did he do 2 matches?
He did 2 matches, like not back to back, but pretty close.
Yeah.
So
the dude, he's in there.
Props to Seth. Again, I love it when promoters. We saw it on Fury too. I love it when promoters go, "Hey man, I gotta save the show. Get my ass out there and like put your money where your mouth is." I love it. We interviewed Seth a couple of years ago when he talked about doing that. I think off the record, I was like, "Hey, do you pay yourself when you win?" He goes, "Hell yeah!" and I loved that because it was just like, yeah, he's out there competing. Like if he wins, like,
we brought that. That's funny that we're talking about that because we brought up all those old interviews from when we did.
I was looking. So this last week, let's do the previews and let's talk about those interviews after. I was pulling up some old footage and I found some funny stuff. So that does it for Fight to Win. We have moving into the recap section, or the preview section. Preview section for next week. We only have a couple things. We have Fight to Win 207. This was 206. We don't have announcements for that yet. I think Seth has another match.
Double check. You know what happened last time?
I checked earlier. I checked earlier. We don't have it.
Okay, so we don't have what's on there, but it starts to roll out like
usually Wednesday, Thursday. And then we also have Toro Cup, which is again on Flow, and we have a really, really exciting matchup for that one. We have
entries.
We have entries this time?
Go to entries.
We do. Look at that. It got updated.
There's 45 matches.
So if you don't know what Toro Cup is, we've covered Toro Cup for years and years at this point, kind of sporadically. Now that it's on Flow, we're covering it more often. It's a charity event that runs out of North Carolina, usually for a local jiu-jitsu or some sort of local charity organization. They have some fire matchups. There's a lot of people that have been featured on earlier Toro Cups that have gone on to do like really big things. They usually have some pretty awesome, like, they're not technically main events, but they are title matches that happen at some point throughout the card, typically in the middle of the card. This one is main evented by Gabriel Souza, who is the current champion, I think for 155, might be 145. I think he is the lightweight champion for Toro, and he's going to take on Gavin Corbray, who
the younger brother of DeAndre Corbray,
who they had a previous match that was very back and forth and very close.
Gabriel and DeAndre, not Gabriel and Gavin.
So Gavin, again, I've commentated a bunch of Gavin's matches on Copa Virginia when he's been on those cards. I've watched him. I think I have commentated 2 of his runs on the pro events for them and done a bunch of interviews with him after he has won those. He was at West Coast Trials. Dude has been making massive improvements to his game. It's been interesting kind of to talk to him in those interviews at Copa Virginia over the years of like, one day one of the events he won, he was just working his leg lock game in competition. And it's always an open weight tournament, and Gavin's probably pretty similar size to me. He's like a
140 something.
140, 155er at most. And then another event, he was working like back takes and working transitions, and it's been interesting to kind of interview him. And you can find those interviews on the Copa Virginia Tournaments YouTube page, where we're interviewing him after both of his runs at Copa Virginia. So what do you think about this match? What do you think kind of the dynamics between Souza and Corbre? Corbre's really rounded out his game recently and added a lot of tools. But
Souza's a fire hydrant.
Yeah. He's hard to sweep. He's hard to go around. I'm not sure if Gavin will be able to...
I'm just interested to watch the match.
Yeah.
More so than anything. Like,
I think that Gavin will pull it into the legs.
I don't think
Souza will allow it. And
I think it's going to be a lot of both of them trying to get to the back.
Yeah. You think they're going to stand and wrestle at all here? Or
maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Souza is more willing to... Well, I'm not going to say that because you know what? Like, Corbre will wrestle too. Never mind.
Yeah.
Like, they're both willing to wrestle.
Mm-hmm. And that's sort of why, like, this is an interesting matchup for me specifically because both guys are very good everywhere and very willing to have a fight anywhere. So it's a really kind of odd. It's almost like the Rotolo problem, where it's like, oh yeah, he kind of willing to fight you. He has his preferences for sort of where he wants to go, but he is. If you want to have a wrestling match, he's very willing to wrestle with you. If you want to have a guard battle, he's very willing to do that with you as a passer or as a guard player. If you want to go and entangle the legs and like play for footlocks, he's very willing. But they're both very willing to do that. I think kind of back to your point, I don't think that Gabriel will be as interested in kind of playing a footlock heavy game with Corbre, and maybe the way that we've seen in the past. But I think this is a super tough one. I do want to pick. I want to pick Gavin because I've interviewed him so many times and I've commentated so many of his matches.
The safe bet is to go with Gabriel.
The safe bet's to go with Gabriel,
and then you want to pull for Gavin.
Yeah, I think that's what you need to do here. Cause
like on the outside, you're like Gabriel Souza takes this. On the inside, you're like, yeah, Gavin, you got this.
And that's sort of where I'm at. It would definitely be a pretty large upset to have.
Oh, it would be awesome though.
Gavin beat him, but he is a guy, again, we talked about it earlier, kind of the lexicon of guys about the people that we cover on the show. Gavin is a guy kind of that we cover on occasion that is in that roster of guys that are on the rise that I have watched. Again, in his runs on Copa Virginia, I have watched him make consistent improvements, throughout those tournaments in a series of matches over like the last year plus of watching him on those events. And so it'll be very, very interesting. This is a match that I'm amped to see him in. I'm very interested to see how he does and then what he takes away from this match into the future, because he and his brother are both on that pro circuit getting these big matches. So should be fun. That's about as non-picky as I can make it. My heart says Gavin, my mind says Gabriel's a tough dude to beat. So that, I think, does it for this week. We've already done the EBI is not our favorite rule set rant. Josh, do you have any thoughts on either Felipe Pena versus Gordon, or because you're not going to be on next? I don't think you're on next week's show, right?
No.
Okay. Or on the Who's Next final.
Okay,
without getting too ranty.
Let's talk about Gordon Ryan putting up
$100,000. Holy shit!
Versus Felipe Pena's $10,000. It's like the balls. He's like, I'll put up 10 times the amount of your money. And
I think it's fairly hilarious because that is what a lot of people in the past have pointed to Gordon, not to cut you off completely, but I'm going to. Pointed to Gordon like, oh, I just want the match pen. It's like, bro, if you ever had a doubt that he wanted this match back, like, listen to his interview last week, and then you don't put up $100,000 of your own money And I don't think he got like a backer. I think it's like
That's his money.
I think it's his money. You don't put up $100,000 because like he doesn't give a fuck about Felipe's money. He just wants
No,
that
because
match.
if he wins, he only gets $10,000.
You get 10 grand
from that.
And he probably has a contract with Flo, and there's all that stuff, and he gets paid. Again, I love seeing athletes get paid. That's how you get professionals.
But like
that are
the
good at the sport.
upside for Felipe, it's just like you're about to make, if you beat him again for the third time.
The thing
you're
is,
about to
he's
make
already beat him twice.
twice.
Like Gordon doesn't have a win on Felipe, and Felipe has.
Oh, he wants it. He's like, this is how bad I want the match. Here's my money.
That's some baller shit,
dude.
That is a level of confidence.
I'm excited for it. Like
I am. I'm genuine. It is the
there's
match.
not going to be no time limit matches before that match, right?
Dude, there can't be. Is this no time limit again?
I think there's probably like a 30-minute time limit,
Which is how it should be.
which is fine. We said this when we were watching it. It's like sub only is hard to do. Not a lot of people do it well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people try to take away like who was really doing it forever and like, oh, this is what started it. This is what started it.
A lot of people want to make it a historical thing, like this is how it should be done.
No.
I said it online. A lot of people who really love sub only haven't watched or done a lot of sub only. Because
if you're on the East Coast, specifically like in the DMV area,
yeah, where
and
Josh
even
and I are
like
located.
Charlotte and
Yep.
things like that, U.S. Grappling ran true.
So did Good Fight. Good Fight did it too.
Oh yeah, that is
Because I have a
But
40...
was that the finals though?
Dude, I don't remember.
That was the
I know
finals.
I had a 45-minute match with a dude with a stinky gi.
But U.S. Grappling sub only was legitimately
Yes.
sub only. That is how you won, period. There was no overtime. There was no stopping. You went until you went, and that was it. And I mean, I remember doing those in like 2007 before anybody else was. They were like, this is dumb. Nobody will do this. This will never work. And guess what time we would get out? At about the same time a normal tournament would get out. It did, like, yeah, you had your outlier matches. You know,
Yeah.
I
was
reffed
also-
a brown belt match that was 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
Josh, I coached a match that went on, and it was the last. They packed the mats up
Around it.
and it was
yeah.
just these two dudes, one dude from our team, just them going, and they were white belts, and both of them didn't have good enough subs at the time to finish.
I reffed one of those.
This
white
was
belt
so long
matches
ago. That guy's a
before.
purple belt now.
I've,
That's how long ago this was.
I've reffed like those white belt matches where I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
There
So-
were those times where you could literally like walk away, like not like walk away, but not really pay attention and know that neither of them were going to finish anything. I would also start calling points just to entertain myself after standing there for an hour.
Rachel is a trooper because she videoed. It was just me and her went to Pennsylvania to do this tournament. It was the finals of this division, and she has a 45-minute video of the third match of the day for me in my first division of just in this this gi match of just like us just 45. It's a 45-minute iPhone video of just this match where it's just her coaching and me just not doing so hot and then eventually winning on a DQ. Because he heel hooked me in the gi, and he's like, "Go do that." It was a whole thing, and then I
think my longest sub only match was like 38 minutes.
45, and then on the day I had 89 minutes of mat time.
On that day that I did that one, I had two like roughly 30-minute matches, a 20-minute match, a 15-minute match. 15-minute match, 20-minute match, and then like 2 3-minute matches.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Different time.
Yeah.
So overall, again, I think and kind of think about this for another week. I definitely am happy that organizations do sub only no time limit.
Dude, that shit
do
at the
not,
beginning.
Well, I'm saying I love what like Shugio did and who's next did. Like, hey, run them closed door. I don't need to see them live. If I want to see the match, it's there. If two guys really want to put up
the
and have
goddamn match, one, you don't stop to let them get a drink.
yes.
You don't,
And even Adam
you don't
Bradley-
let,
Adam
you
Bradley
don't
on
let
Instagram.
them drink because they got an injury. 2, you don't stop the match I mean, you're an hour and a half, you're an hour and 39 minutes into it. You don't stop it and let it go for another 30 minutes not watching it. Like, if you're going to do that, you do one of two things.
If I'm already invested, that's my main. Honestly, my main complaint was last week.
I'm
was
in
that
it.
I've already watched 99 minutes of this match. Like, if I'm still here, like, you got me. Like, I watched Keenan versus Gordon live. Like,
I watched it on my phone at work.
I watched it on my phone in my house. Like, if we're watching it, like, I'm here, like, I'm gonna watch the whole thing because that's what I'm doing. Like, it is not my preference to watch those matches
before Gordon Ryan got on the mat.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, nope.
So
It's hard to do that shit on a Thursday.
So I would like. I'm very happy. I don't think Felipe versus Gordon is no time. If it is, I think it is because Gordon talked about like roughing him up for like 30 or 40 minutes. I think it's no time limit.
I think he said, I don't. If it's no time limit, that's going to be bad because he will try to just absolutely ragdoll him for as long as he feels like.
Yeah.
If that happens, and if not, Felipe's gonna beat him up, which would be wild.
Yeah, again, $100,000 though. Like, I think that puts to bed any notion that Gordon didn't want the match.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even though it potentially still could have happened a few weeks past that at ADCC.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it might happen again. And again, this also affects the bracketing for ADCC because now you got to get those guys. They were going to be opposite anyway. Like, this could have only been a finals match anyway.
Who in 99 has Gordon not gone against?
Bones. I think he went against Bones, but maybe not. Maybe it's like Nogi Pans. No, I think Bones was he still brown belt? Might have still been 2018. Nogi Pans. Josh,
Look it up.
I can't do it right now.
Look it up.
I
got to put the show out in an hour.
I do have to put the show out. Oh, really? Yeah, in an hour.
Look, we haven't messed anything up. You don't have to edit anything.
This is like the longest outro section.
It's great outro section.
It's a great outro section.
Wins.
A lot of wins. So we're in 2022. So Pedro Marino, Jacob Couch, Wagner Hosha, Jimenez, Deniz. So Deniz is in there. Pedro's not at 99. Pedro's at under 99. Bame is in there. He's beat Bame. He's beat Deniz. Those guys. Oh, Deniz is at not 99.
He's at 88.
He's at 88.
Yeah, that was the two. Like
Tex Johnson's not in there. Lennox, Bo Nichols not in there. Pajares. Trator is not. Is he in ADCC? I think he is. I think he's not at plus 99. Ben Hodgkinson, Gary Tonin, Bushesha. We're at the last ADCC now. Tim Spriggs, not ADCC anymore, at plus 99.
Giles,
Hulk's in there. He beat Hulk last ADCC.
But Hulk's not at plus 99.
No. I'm just going through.
Mourinho again. Checo, Dominguez, Hosha, Souza, Gaudio.
Gaudio's not a plus 99 either. Yuri's not in.
Cyborg.
Was this the Worlds win? Yeah, this was the 2018 Worlds win, the DQ win for Cyborg. The previous one was 2017.
The draw. Yeah, like we're getting into like the pans.
Max Jimenez. He beat Jimenez at 2018.
Twice.
Both by Rene Kachok and Pans 2018 in the ultra heavy and an absolute.
We finally got to a loss.
Vinny Magalhaes, ACB GJ 13.
2018.
Remember covering that on the show?
Yes, I do.
That was a weird match to cover on the show because it was like Gordon lost. That was weird. He beat him by points. Huh. Vinny's really, really game and knows exactly what to do.
I just looked and I was like, when did Gordon beat Hodger Gracie? And I was like, oh wait, that's not Hodger Gracie.
Right.
That's
Craig Jones, EBI 14 in the overtime.
Muhammad Ali, like
Hamla Bahal.
Felipe Pena. That was again 2017 Felipe Pena loss.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's the last loss he doesn't have back, and the Vinny Magalhaes loss. And he wants both those back. And Vinny couldn't fight him because he had an MMA fight coming up. So
wild.
Honestly, he has faced less people at plus 99 than I had thought. The match that kind of sticks out most for me is the João Gabriel Hosha match because where he blew his own leg out because Hosha really leveraged his size.
But he still beat him.
He did beat him. Yeah, on points. Very, very close by 1 point or by one penalty.
We passed it.
Yeah, we passed it. So.
I forgot that he beat Barnett too.
Mm-hmm. Triangled him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quintet. That was fun. So. Yep, that will be fun. Let's move to the outro. I went on vacation this weekend. It was fun. Went to Canada. Went up and trained in Niagara. It was awesome. Met some friendly folks at the gym. And generally had a good time at Pasador Jiu-Jitsu Academy. It was super fun. Everyone was very, very friendly and I had a very good time training. We trained actually both days we were up there. We dropped in. And it was awesome. Again, I really love that. I love that you can just do that. You just email someone and be like, hey, I'm in your area. Can we come train? And they're like, oh, you're cool. And it was cool. We're balanced. We're like, oh, sweet. And the guy actually had trained with Phil Maglaris, who is the
One
head
of the heads of
balance.
Yeah.
Back in like the 90s.
Yep.
And it was cool. And he sent us a picture and we sent it to Phil. And it's cool to be part of like this really very small community that is everywhere. And it was a unique experience to travel out of the country and train. Because that's actually the first time I've done that.
I like how you're saying it's like out of the country. And then I'm like, well, technically, yeah, it's in Canada.
I've been to Canada in like almost 10 years.
America's hat.
Yeah. Very, very friendly folks. It was awesome. So I got nothing else, Josh. Anything else?
No.
All right. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, your host.
Josh.
And we are the Grappling. We're around to see on the mat. Whatever it is, stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
Let us know.
reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.